Hello and welcome. I'm Chloe Thomas, the host of this e-commerce marketing focused podcast. If you're not familiar with our format, well, here on Keep Optimizing, every 5 episodes, we switch our focus to a different marketing method. It could be email, it could be SEO, it could be Facebook ads or something else. And we pick up the thread from the last time we covered it. In each episode, we release a new one every Wednesday. I interview a different expert to explore the latest advice on making that marketing method work for you. So across the 5 episodes of each mini series, you get 5 different ways of improving the performance. It's like a little mini masterclass, if you like. Now, as of this episode, we are picking up the Google Ads thread again, and we're kicking off in style. We are exploring how to get more from that must-use e-commerce campaign type, PMax, aka Performance Max. I know, it's the one you're all battling with at the moment. So in this episode, we are going to be finding out the 5 do's of PMax optimization and the 5 don'ts of PMax optimization. There is so much goodness in this episode. I reckon across those 10 tips and the insider tips that Becky and Jonny do towards the end of the episode, you will get enough to fill your optimization to-do list for the next several months. I mean, this is gold dust stuff coming up here. So do make sure you listen right to the end of the episode so you don't miss out on their quickfire insider tips and my own take on it all and some other ways we can help you. In this episode, I'm chatting with Google Ads experts Becky Hopkin and Jonny Hyams. Becky and Jonny are our favourite Google Ads experts. I am completely biased, from advertising agency Digital Gearbox. Hello, Becky.
Hi, Chloe.
Hello, Jonny.
Hello, Chloe. Thanks for having us.
Always lovely to have you guys back on. And, you know, it's been almost exactly a year since the 2 of you joined us for an episode. So it's almost like part 2 in some ways. But I know a lot's happened in the last year. So it's very, very cool that it's been almost a year. How has Google Ads life been in the last 12 months?
I think for us, it's been more eventful than perhaps the previous few years. I mean, for us, we've done... I don't want to say had a massive U-turn because it's been kind of a gradual thing, but we were very much embracing new and exciting things we can do with AI now, which I know every business is. But I think we're at the start of a whole new phase of Google Ads management. And yeah, I guess it's exciting times.
Is that mainly AI provided by Google Ads Manager, or is this other AI stuff?
It's a combination of both. Obviously, Google's has adopted more and more of it over the last few years, and it's got better, so we actually trust and like it more than we ever used to. But also, we're looking outside of the Google Ads interface and looking at what we can do with ChatGPT and Claude and scripts and all sorts of fancy things. So, yeah, I've had to fast become a coder as well as proficient in talking to AI as well as doing the Google Ads stuff. So I feel for me personally, I've been on a massive learning curve again after knowing the ins and outs of Google Ads for so many years. It's been an exciting new chapter.
Without totally taking us down that rabbit hole, it is kind of mad how much code you need to know for AI and no code solutions. It's like quite mad, Aning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But interesting at the same time.
Using a new part of our brains.
Yes, very much so. Jonny, how about you? How's Google Ads land been for the last 12 months for you?
Oh, very busy. We've had quite a lot of change in terms of our team, our processes. As Becky mentioned, we're doing lots with AI now as well. So it's been an exciting time. I've really enjoyed it. But I also need to sleep. So I'm looking forward to doing that this weekend.
Excellent. Well, as you said, you know, lots has been going on, and you guys have come up with the brilliant idea of doing an episode that runs down exactly what one should and should not be doing with PMax, which is kind of like the hero campaign. Dare we say hero campaign? The most used campaign by e-commerce businesses at the moment. So very excited to do that. So if it's all right with you guys, I think we'll go straight into it. The 5 do's of PMax optimization. Jonny, I think you're going to kick us off. So what's our number one do?
Yeah, so first of all is, as I'm sure your audience is aware, Performance Max can place ads anywhere a Google ad can go. So it's not just your typical search ad or your shopping ad. It can also appear on YouTube, Gmail, the Google Discover feed, the Google Display Network. So the first do is to make sure you understand performance by the different channels that are available. Now, this is currently only available to do via scripts within Google Ads. You can't access that data natively within Google Ads, although that will be changing in the near future. But yeah, you want to understand how those different placements are performing, because they all behave very differently. So whilst you might see things are working really well in search or shopping, maybe they're going quite poorly in display or video. So using those scripts to be able to understand where your budget is going, what's actually driving results, will help you better understand what you need to do in order to optimize the campaign. If, for example, you're seeing that a particular placement is doing really poorly, let's say display is doing really poorly, you may need to revisit your imagery, maybe need to get more captivating imagery in there. Alternatively, maybe you're seeing videos doing really, really well, in which case, but you haven't got any custom-made videos in there yet. That's a sign you should go away and actually create some new video creatives to add into the PMax so that you can double down on what's working best.
So it's more the outcome of this is more a case of creating the right creative and feeding the algorithm the right information than it is turning something off or altering bids. It's all about helping us create more creative.
To an extent. Now, the point Becky's going to bring up in a second is that, yes, you can turn some placements off, and that may be one possible outcome from the back of this. Now, as I said, you can't currently see this data natively within Google Ads, so you'll need to use a script instead. The one we tend to use is one created by a gentleman called Mike Rhodes. You can find a free version of that available online. He also has a paid version that gives you a lot more information. So for the time being, do check that one out. And then maybe in 3-4 months' time, we're not too sure what the timescales are, Google will allow you to see this data within the Google Ads dashboard as well.
So definitely a competitive advantage on getting it via scripts first, I think. Yeah. There. Becky, what's our second do of PMax optimization?
Our second do is testing feed-only PMax. So this follows on from once you've had a look at the channel reporting that Jonny was just talking about, you might find out that actually you're wasting a lot on display, for example. And a really good way to get PMax campaigns prioritizing shopping and preventing those placements that you don't necessarily want would be to create a PMax campaign that's feed only. And you do that simply by not uploading any assets with it. You just upload the feed. And this is typically about 90% of what we do with PMax now. And it just allows you to focus more of the spend on shopping, which tends to be, for most e-commerces, the best performing placements anyway. It also prevents those really nasty auto-generated videos that get created sometimes with PMax campaigns. And it just forces you, it gives you the opportunity to have more control within that PMax campaign that Google has previously prevented you from doing.
So a cunning little kind of side swipe. We have a campaign that has pure product feed, and then it restricts what Google can do on our behalf, which may or may not be
Absolutely.
Good things.
Google, the interface will hate it. It will keep telling you you've not set up your PMax campaign properly, but it works.
That doesn't sound like Google at all. Jonny, what's our third do, please?
Going in the exact opposite direction. So if you are having assets in there, if you are using your images, your video, you are putting in your headlines and your descriptions, it's to make sure those are high quality assets. Here, quality massively outrates quantity. You have the option to add loads of different headlines, loads of different images, but you don't want to get just pumping loads of low quality ones, because you want to make sure that Google is able to put the best possible ad in front of your users. What's really important as well is that all the different creatives work well with one another. Too often I see accounts where you'll have a headline talking about one product, the image shows a different product, the description talks about another product entirely. So the ad as a whole doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So where you want to have ads based around different themes or different products, you want to split this into different asset groups within the campaign to maintain that coherence within the ad. But yeah, you want to make sure that all your different headlines, your descriptions, your images, your videos, they all work together in an effective and logical way.
Got you. So no drossy content, no bad, just there for the sake of it content, but also grouping it into sensible groups where the whole thing could mix and match together. Really important too.
Absolutely.
Nice.
What I often see is people go, right, I am promoting shoes in here. So they have 10 different headlines that mention shoes in slightly different ways. There's no point in doing that. You're not learning anything by having these variations of the same different thing. You want different angles, different features, different benefits, different USPs in there, different reasons for people to come to you to buy those shoes. So yeah, you want variety, you want quality. You don't just want the same. You don't want it to look spammy, right? You don't want to just have the same thing repeated over and over and over again. Now, if you're stuck for what creatives you should be putting in there, a good starting point can be to look at what's working well on your paid social and take the best performing creatives and videos from there and using those in your PMax as a starting point whilst you're still learning what does and doesn't work.
Nice bit of cross-channel learning there as well. Excellent. Becky, number 4 of the do's, please.
Now, I feel like I've given you this tip across many different channels and over many years, Chloe, but use negative keywords is our tip number 4. Now, this is a new one for PMax because previously to add negative keywords to campaigns, you had to fill in forms and it was very long-winded, whereas now, just within the last few weeks, Google have allowed you to add negative keywords to PMax at campaign level. So it's all very exciting. One problem with PMax is that the search term data that you still get within the dashboard is still quite poor. Search terms are kind of grouped into themes rather than specific search terms, but that is also due to change. So within the next few months with the channel updates, we should also get more search term data so you can be filling your negative keyword lists up just as you do with search campaigns.
That so many people must be so pleased about that finally coming in. Yes. I could talk about that for the rest of the episode. I'm sure you guys could as well. But that is very, very cool news. Yeah, definitely adding in those negative keywords. Okay, number 5, Jonny, it's over to you.
Number 5, it sounds like an obvious one, but it's one I see a lot of people getting wrong all the time, which is to make sure you're aligning your bid strategy with your campaign objective. So there are 2 bid strategies available within Performance Max: maximize conversions, which will get you as many conversions, usually purchases, as possible, or maximize conversion value, which will go for much value, in this case, revenue, as possible. In addition to that, you can apply efficiency targets on those strategies as well. So a target CPA or a target ROAS. Now, very often I'll have a potential client come to me and go, look, Jonny, I want a ROAS of 5 and I'm only getting a ROAS of 2. And I look at the campaign and they've set a target ROAS of 2. And Google's delivering what you've asked it to deliver. If you want it to deliver a ROAS of 5, you need to give it a target ROAS of 5 and not 2. So making sure you're aligning your efficiency targets with what you need the campaign to deliver. But beyond that as well, when deciding between maximize conversions and maximize conversion value, those strategies will behave very differently. If you're going with maximize conversions, it's going to go for as many conversions as possible without any consideration as to the value of them. So you may find you get more conversions overall, but they're lower value and therefore you make less money. So think about what it is you're looking to achieve, whether what you're looking for is volume of conversions, whether it's the overall revenue you're looking for, or whether you care about efficiency. Are you looking for that immediate ROI, or are you happy to take a loss in that initial purchase in order to acquire a new customer and get that lifetime value coming in and making more money over the long run? In addition to that, you can steer Google towards acquiring new customers over just chasing repeat customers by using the new customer acquisition tool within the campaign. What this does is it adds additional imaginary revenue to orders from new customers. So rather than if their order is £10, it will count it as £15 instead, for example. And that will encourage a target ROAS bidding in order to go after those new customers instead. That's really good if what you're looking to do is chase new customers rather than bringing back in existing customers. But what you do need to bear in mind there is a revenue figure you're seeing in your Google ads is now going to be very inaccurate because it includes all this imaginary revenue that is expecting you to maybe get in the future, perhaps. But yeah, short version is, first of all, make sure you understand what it is you're looking to achieve with the campaign before you start setting your bid strategy.
It is mad how many people actually don't bother with that. It's kind of like trying to teach a dog to fetch while shouting sit at it. You know, it's like you're just setting yourself up for failure if you're not doing that. So love that we're talking about that. Right. Dare we move on to the don'ts? What shouldn't we be doing? Becky, I think you're going to kick us off with the first don't, aren't you?
Yes. So the first don't is just sticking with the PMax campaign type. I think we see a lot of accounts where they've just got a PMax campaign set up, and that's because people think, oh, it's covering all the channels. But there's still lots of opportunity to run the other campaign types alongside PMax campaigns. For example, you still want to use search campaigns to bid on your most important keywords. If you want the brand separated out, for example, that's a really good way to do it. It's also good to keep remarketing separate, so you have complete control over the message you're putting in front of those people. You're going to want to have a different strategy there to get people coming back rather than coming to your site for the first time. And then again, depending on what you're seeing with those channel reports that we spoke about, you might want to invest more into the kind of top of funnel campaign types. So your YouTube campaigns, demand gen or display. So don't just think because you've got PMax set up that's tick Google ads done. Do keep using the other campaign types as well.
Nice. Yeah, it can be very easy just to go, oh yeah, it's covered it all, but actually taking a bit of control and rolling one out into its own campaign can be hugely powerful. Love that one. Jonny, what's our next don't, please?
The next don't is do not bid on your own brand name within PMax. It will do this by default unless you stop it from doing so. The reason for this is there are legitimate reasons why you want to bid on your own brand name, because if competitors are bidding on your brand name, they're going to appear above your organic listing. So you do want to bid on your own brand name very often, but you don't want to do it within a Performance Max campaign. There's a few reasons for this. One of the big ones in my mind is Performance Max always uses smart bidding, as we mentioned earlier, either maximize conversions or maximize conversion value. Now, the way those strategies work is they will try and get you, as the name implies, either the most conversions, the most value possible. Google will see people searching for your brand name and go, these people are very likely to convert. So what it will do is it will bid really high for those people because there's a good chance to maximize conversions and maximize value. But you don't need to bid high on your own brand name. Your brand name should be cheap to bid on. So in the smart bidding, campaign like Performance Max, very often you'll find yourself paying, I don't know, maybe £2 or £3 for a click on your brand name versus say 10, 20p in a search campaign or a shopping campaign where you're able to cap that CPC. So what I almost always recommend doing is excluding your brand name from the Performance Max campaign. If you do want to bid on those terms, do it in dedicated search campaigns and standard shopping campaigns instead, where you can have more control over that cost per click. Now, I do say almost always because there are some instances where maybe you do want to bid on your own brand name within Performance Max. One example of why you might want to do that is because your brand keyword doesn't act like a normal brand keyword. That might be, for example, because your brand name is also a generic term. If you think vacuum, for example, somebody who's searching for a vacuum isn't necessarily looking for a Hoover, sorry. Somebody who's searching for Hoover isn't necessarily looking for a vacuum cleaner from Hoover. They're just looking for a vacuum cleaner. So in those instances, actually using smart bidding to help Google figure out which of those terms you do and don't want to be bidding aggressively on can make sense. So there are some times when you may want to include your brand name in a PMax campaign. So like everything in Google Ads, it all depends. But my general recommendation is to not bid on your own brand name within Performance Max.
Will the debate on brand name bidding ever die? I don't think so, but I love the insights you're bringing us there, Jonny, on how it's being affected by PMax, and I completely agree. I don't think there's many times when you should be bidding on it in the PMax even. Becky, what's our next don't for PMax campaigns?
Our next don't is letting the campaign be limited by budget if you can avoid it. And obviously that kind of makes sense across other campaigns, but the difference with Performance Max is that it's so target driven by your target ROAS or your target CPA. If you are limited by budget, it suggests you should be adjusting either your targets to make it more efficient if you haven't got more budget, or you should be scaling up. If if you've asked it to deliver a ROAS of 10 and it's delivering that and asking it for more budget, why would you let it be limited by budget? Why wouldn't you take the opportunity to get more sales for that target that you've asked it to do? But one thing to bear in mind is it can be a little bit oversensitive. So do increase it. If it's not hitting the target, still increase it a little bit and just see if it then starts to perform better. Sometimes it might be that you've not got enough budget for it to hit that target. But obviously it's kind of a game of making sure it is performing how you want it to perform. So do listen to those notifications from Google for once. Don't ignore them.
One type of notification from Google to pay attention to.
Yes,
just on everybody.
Just the one.
Okay, Jonny, number 4, don't, please.
Number 4 is don't overly segment your campaigns. So Performance Max wants really at least 30 conversions a month in order to optimize effectively towards the targets you've set it. Ideally, you want 60 plus conversions a month. Now, the problem is when you break your campaigns into smaller campaigns, a larger number of campaigns, what you're doing is you're splitting those conversions across a large number of campaigns. And if they fall below that threshold of 30 conversions a month, they're going to begin to struggle to optimize effectively. It is in marketers' nature to we want to take control of these campaigns. So what's a lot of people doing is going, right, this is working well, let's split it into 2 campaigns and 4 campaigns and then 6 campaigns so we can better tailor the messaging in there. We can take control of the budget for the different products, and that all makes sense to an extent. However, as I say, when you fall below those 30 conversions a month, you've actually done more harm than good. This is a time where actually it makes sense to give a bit of control over to the algorithm, give a bit of control back to Google. It will optimize effectively towards the target you set it if you let it do so.
Got you. So would it be, you said 30 and you said 60. So would it be fair to say that if you've got 60 or less coming in to your PMax campaign a month, it's not time to create a second PMax campaign? You want to keep it all in the one. But if you're getting 70 to 80 conversions a month, that's the point at which we consider doing a second one? Or would you do that for 30? Best to get the 60 first.
Best to get the 60 first. 60 plus is ideal. 30 plus is okay. Below 30, it becomes a bit hit or miss as to whether it's going to work or not. Now, if you have a smaller budget, you may have no choice. You may be limited to maybe 10 conversions a month. That can still work, but it won't work as well as we can get those 30 conversions a month. But you're absolutely right. You don't want to start splitting your campaigns up until you're getting ideally 60 plus conversions a month for that one campaign.
Nice. Okay. Number 5, Becky, our last do/don't, and this one's a don't.
Our last don't, is leaving the final URL expansion setting on. This is because it will send traffic to whatever pages it likes on your site, which can break the objective of your campaign. So let's say you've got a campaign dedicated to your higher margin products and you've got a ROAS target set up for that. It could start showing low margin products and then could be costing you money rather than making you money. So you want to turn that final URL expansion off, because it will be on by default. So
off. Final URL expansion field off is what we're saying, everyone. So you
turn it off. Control. Don't leave it on. Sorry.
Turn it off. You have control over where that traffic's going, and Google doesn't randomly decide to send it to your About Us page or something.
Yeah, we've seen examples of it sending people to like the shipping and returns page from your branded activity when it's not been excluded. So yeah, non-commercial pages can suddenly start appearing, which obviously isn't going to convert people. So yeah, on by default, turn it off.
Excellent advice. There's always going to be that one field we need to make sure we've done something with, isn't there, as we're setting up. Becky, Jonny, thank you so much for that rundown. It has been brilliant picking your brains about the do's and don'ts of PMax optimization. Listeners, remember to stay tuned right to the end of the episode because you do not want to miss out on Becky and Jonny's next answers in our Insider Tips rounds, and also my suggestions for other ways we can help you improve things even further in your businesses. Okay, Becky and Jonny, so far we've gone deep into the do's and don'ts of PMax optimization. Now you get to wow us with your insider knowledge about the whole of Google Ads. So for the following questions, your answer can be anything to do with Google Ads, which of course does include all those things we have already been talking about. Are you ready for the insider tips?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, let's start with newbie advice. If we've inspired someone to take their first step, what do they need to know to give themselves the best chance of success? And Becky, I think you've got an answer for us on this one.
I've got a couple of answers, Chloe, but I'll go quickly. First of all, make sure you've got clarity on what you're looking to achieve from this. You need clear goals. As we've already spoken about, a lot of the targets you put in are based on knowing your ROAS, what you're looking to achieve there, or your target CPA. You want to know exactly what you want to be getting out of this before you get going. It will also help you decide which campaign type is the one you need to go with. So on that theme, I would say keep it simple as well. Don't try and test all the campaign types at once. Even start with a feed-only PMax and have all your products in there, and then expand later once you've started getting that data in and you hit those conversion thresholds that Jonny was talking about. And with that, be patient. Success isn't overnight with Google Ads. You do need the data. So you are going to need 2 weeks minimum, maybe even a month, to give Google that data that is going to need to start optimizing those campaigns for you. And then finally, aside from the limited by budget, do not listen to all of Google's auto recommendations.
Yeah, with that one caveat from earlier.
That one caveat.
What you're allowed to listen to, the rest of them ignore. And if they phone you up, definitely don't speak to them. Jonny, once you've started, of course, you've got to keep optimizing. So what's your favourite way to improve performance?
I'm a big fan of using session recording tools like Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity. I like Microsoft Clarity in particular because it's completely free and it integrates really nicely with Google Ads now as well. We've been using it with a few of our clients to help understand when a campaign isn't going so well, looking at the session recordings for that campaign and understanding what a user's doing after they click the ad. Because clicking that is only part of the journey. So what they're doing once they land on the website. So we found, for example, with one client, the users were landing on the website and a lot of them were clicking on a link that turned out was completely broken, that we were completely unaware of. So we were able to flag that with the client and they were able to fix that broken link. We've also seen examples of realizing that users are struggling to interact with the website. They're clicking images that they think are buttons, but they aren't, or they're clearly looking for information that then is actually on the website, or they're browsing different pages, just trying to find the information they need. So session recordings is a really useful way to understand why a campaign might not be working.
It's so easy to just purely look at what you can see on the landing page and what you can see in the ad center. But yeah, so I love that. Starting to dive into conversion rate optimization with those call recordings makes so much sense. Great tip. Thank you, Jonny. And Becky, if someone listening wants to learn more, is there a cheap or free resource you would like to recommend?
I'm going to recommend two. One is Mike Rhodes's whole collection of script and AI courses and various things he's offering. If you go on his website, if you just search Mike Rhodes, he has a load of free scripts, as we've always spoken about, the PMax one. If you're not very confident with scripts, he makes it super simple and clear and can teach anyone on how to quickly upload a script into Google Ads. So if you're interested in starting to get going with scripts, have a look at Mike Rhodes' stuff. And if you're not interested in scripts and you just want to stay up to date with the new things happening in Google Ads, there's the PPC Mastery newsletter by Bob and Miles. They send out a weekly Friday roundup, which I found really useful.
Oh, top tips there. Loving both of those. Thank you, Becky. Jonny, finally, the crystal ball has been nominated to you, or thrown at you, should we say, probably. What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months that we should be getting ready for in Google Ads?
Well, we know there is a new campaign type coming called Search Max. As the name implies, it seems to be taking the search element of Performance Max and moving it into its own standalone campaign. Quite interesting seeing what this is like. It's only available for a very small number of advertisers so far. We don't yet have access to it, but it's one I'm very keen to get access to. If you speak to your Google Ads rep, they may be able to get you early access to it, so you can be experimenting with it and maybe get a first mover advantage with it. So I would suggest looking into Search Max.
Ooh, that's intriguing. That's one to put on the Google Alerts search, isn't it? When someone puts a case study out about that one. Love that. Thank you, Jonny. Becky, we are very nearly at the end of the show, so could you please let the listeners know where they can find you and Digital Gearbox if they want to get in contact?
So you can find us at Digital Gearbox across all the socials, www.digitalgearbox.co.uk. We do also have a free consultation that you can request on the URL on screen, or if you're listening, it's keepopt.com/Digital Gearbox. And with that, you can request to speak to one of the team about where you are at on your Google Ads journey. And if you want us to have a look at your account as well, we can embed an audit within that as well.
Very cool, everyone. So that's keepopt.com/Digital Gearbox to get your own free consultation with one of the Digital Gearbox team. It might even be Becky or Jonny to go through anything Google Ads and get a fast track to working out how to optimize your account, basically. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. And thank you so much for breaking down the latest tips and tricks with PMax for all of us. Super useful. I'm sure many will be listening to this episode twice. So thank you for packing it with so much insight. And thank you so much for being on the show again.
Thank you for having us, Chloe.
Well, there you go, everyone. The perfect guide to what you should and should not be doing to optimize your PMax performance. You can get our rundown of those 10 tips, the 5 do's and the 5 don'ts on the website. I'm not going to attempt to repeat them all now, but I think you really need to pay attention to all 10 if you're running your own Google Ads, or if you're running your Google Ads with an agency, ask them about those 10 things. Are they doing them for you already? You can get all of that in our notes, which is via the keepoptimising.com website. You can get there also by using our special direct episode short link. That's keepopt.com/the number of this episode, and that will take you straight to the right page on the site. When you get to the website, why not get yourself on our email list so you don't miss out on any of those things that we share to help you improve your business. And thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Keep Optimizing podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to continue learning about Google Ads right now, then pick up our thread. Scroll back up your feed to episodes 132 to 136, because 2023 was the last time we did a dedicated 5 episodes of Google Ads advice. On the way to those, as you're scrolling, you will find a couple of other episodes that are relevant to Google Ads. And you can find all our Google Ads content, including some we did last year, via the short link, keepopt.com/Google Ads. And if your fellow marketers are busy trying to get their Google Ads to work better, then please do tell them about this show. Tell them about the Keep Optimizing podcast, because I want to help as many of you as possible to improve the performance of your e-commerce marketing. Have a great week, and make sure you listen to the next episode so I can help you to keep optimizing your marketing.